The Toronto Raptors try to get to the conference finals for the second time in franchise history, but they have to go through the city of brotherly love. Butler gets around McCaw, jumps, and hits off the glass. Butler on the baseline. He's been their best player offensively here in the postseason.
It's just the energy he brings, offensively and defensively. When you have a guy like that, it kind of sets the tone, and everyone's able to feed off that. So he really gets us going in the game.
Here's Butler, alley-oop, and Simmons with a putdown.
How good was that fake by Jimmy Butler?
Butler's going to take this one short, chases it down, is fouled, and he banks it in. A three-point chance for Jimmy Buckets.
The way he started, even the way he ended the first half, he just stamped his authority in his skill package and his will. Pick whatever words you want. He was all over that game.
Butler with a great play, steals it from Leonard on the other end, flies to the rim and lays it home with 4/10 of a second left. Jimmy Butler has taken over Game 6.
I just came out aggressive, as they tell me to be all the time. I play to win. I think right now this is what I have to do in order to give us a great chance of winning. I think from game to game, from series to series, the role could change. If we win, good. If we don't, I got a problem.
When it comes to the playoffs, Jimmy Butler has proven himself over the years that...
Well, Jimmy Butler has played exceptionally well, but we know that these two are the ones that drive the Philly bus when it's good, when it's not so good. The question was what level of Joel Embiid we were going to get, because he's faced seemingly a whole bunch of landmines he's had to jump over, illness, and how sick is he, and should he play? Are they better off without him? And he answered a lot of those questions, as did Simmons. What was your take on their bounce-back performance and the importance of getting now that yet again coming up here in Game 7?
Well, I think both guys show better than they did earlier in the series. I mean, Embiid, he's had one big game, so he needed to have another game where he played well. He didn't shoot the ball well, only 5 of 14 the last game, but he did get 12 rebounds. Looked like he had a little bit more energy, 17 and 12. I can live with that. Hopefully he's over whatever was ailing him. I've never really seen a guy in a playoff series have 3 different ailments, the stomach virus, the flu, and then the respiratory function. So I've seen some injuries, but this is new territory, and I'm hoping that he gets over that and he's able to play at the higher level that he showed in the series against New Jersey. Against Brooklyn. But some of that has to do with Gasol, and I think he has to figure out Gasol. As far as Simmons goes, I think they found a different way to use Simmons. They've taken the ball out of his hands a lot. They put it in Jimmy Butler's hands a lot more, and then they've used Simmons along the baseline. His non-shooting has become a factor in this series, and when you put him on the perimeter, that's another player that the Raptors do not have to guard. So I think they found a proper way to use Simmons right now, and that is to let him handle the ball in transition, and then when we're in the half court, let him hide along the baseline where he's able to slide in behind the defense for dunks, lobs, and layups. That's where his game is right now until he addresses the holes in his shot-making ability.
Smitty, on the other side for Toronto, Kawhi has done everything that Masai could have ever wanted or hoped for, not only what he's done in terms of the numbers he's put up, but when, and being a closer. How simple is it as he's got to be the best player on the floor in Game 7 for Toronto to win?
Well, now, I really think Kawhi has been playing phenomenal, but I thought B. Wood, they caught him by surprise. He was starting to get double-teamed, and he had those 7 turnovers before this game. I thought he figured out a little bit better last game, but he needs some help. Other than Pascal Siakam, they struggled last game. I mean, they had 50 out of the 101 points, so Kyle Lowry, also Marc Gasol, and I know he's done a nice job defensively. They need him to be able to score more. And I'm looking at this, B. Wood, I would ask him, when they have a Joel Embiid guarding Siakam, I don't understand why a great passer like Marc Gasol can't go post up Tobias Harris. They're still having him lifted. I want to see him get down on the block because he's such a good passer. I think they're letting the Sixers off the hook. That was an adjustment by the Philadelphia 76ers of not playing Joel Embiid because of pick and roll, but Marc Gasol should get down and punish them and let him facilitate a little bit more. And then also they need Danny Green, and they need somebody off the bench. Disappointing Fred VanVleet and some of those guys coming off the bench. They need somebody to have a big game, at least an average game coming off the bench.
Speaking of big, it would be big if somebody can maybe give Portland all of their sheets and bedding from home and whatever trinkets they can and bring them on the road to Denver with you, because it won't help the air necessarily, but it may help them feel at home, which is where they have really played better. And Rodney Hood was just fantastic in that game last night to help them get to a Game 7 where now it's all or nothing, everything on the line. Having Dame Lillard helps, for sure, but he's going to need help. And we've seen even in the games that he's had great games, that 1 or 2 shots from C.J. McCollum help down the stretch, push it over the edge. What about the Blazers?
You know, when you have 2 great guards always and they're your best players, I look at them to lead them. And I think also for them is we know they can score, but these 2 have gotten better, allowing a 3rd guy to be able to score with them. And I think Dame and CJ, they got to recognize the double teams. They got to know time and score. But they're so good. You have 2 guards that can handle the basketball. I want to see them making sure other guys get some high percentage shots, some easy layups, and like feeding to Rodney Hood, feeding Canner, feeding Collins, making sure those guys get easy buckets and understanding when to take over, and you have to play through the double team and making the right play.
With their effort and defense, the energy Canner and Zach Collins have provided has been huge at home. They need to bring that on the road, too. Speaking of in the paint, Jokic doesn't need to stay there. He could be a little bit of everywhere. I mean, spinning and Euro stepping, albeit in a loss on the road. Now he comes home. What do you think he and the Nuggets learned from the last series that now they can take into now, not their first, but another Game 7 opportunity for them?
Well, I think for the Joker, things don't really change much for him. He's going to go out there and play his game and take whatever the defense gives him. He's not a guy that forces up shots. Hey, listen, if you don't play him, he shoots the ball. If you do get up into him, he drives by you. He uses his body well, and he bumps you off for hook shots and Euro steps and things of that nature. He's also a great passer, so he's great at picking guys off on backdoor cuts. He does great as far as dribble handoffs. He pops out to the three-point line. So for the Joker, I'm not sure what he has learned. He maybe gained a little bit of just playoff experience in that Spurs series. But all in all, his game has just been very, very calm. Right now, he's staking his claim as arguably the best big man in the league. When you look at how versatile he is and how he's led this team to the playoffs, and he stepped up huge, I'm not sure if there's anybody better right now.
I can't wait. We all love the 2 words, let's eat. But Game 7, the best 2 words in sports.
Let's eat.
Let's
eat. That's the best one you go with?
Well, I'm hungry. And like, for example, I mean, I want to sit and watch this game. Aren't you excited?
Your best 2 words are normally let's eat, though?
Well, at sporting events, I don't have playing. Have you noticed?
No, you're definitely not playing.
Not at all.
I'm here with the Rockets owner, Tillman Fertitta, who is such an enthusiast of basketball. Thank you so much for joining us in this critical moment before the game.
It's definitely critical. Hopefully it won't be as critical in 2 hours from now, though.
Exactly. How do you describe the pressure, the anxiety, what you go through on a day like this, knowing the must-win situation that we're about to witness?
I mean, this is what's amazing is this game's more important than Game 7 last year because we just feel like this is really our time now. It's the opportunity. And I just think we want it more, but we're going to see. And it's going to be a great game, though. I'm just glad it's in Houston tonight. I
am, too. And if the last 5 games are any indication of how this is going to go, it's going to be exciting. The whole storyline can't get any better in terms of Chris Paul goes down last year. You're bit with the injury bug. This time the Warriors are bit by the injury bug, which no one wants to see, even if you're the opposing team. But what's the pressure like for these players, and what's the sense that you're getting about how big this moment is and if they're ready to step up?
Well, I mean, Chris and James, I think, will definitely step up and will win this game tonight. But then you got to go take one more. But we have to take care of this one. You have to win this game. You cannot let them come in here and not defend your floor tonight. And then you get into a 7th game. You know, they're so great, Golden State, but when you get down to one game, anybody can win. We all know that. That's what makes sports so unbelievable. But the pressure is 100% on us tonight, not them. We have to win this game.
I'm so interested to hear your perspective on the commentary all year long and how it's progressed and changed on James Harden, on his race for the MVP, on his name in the conversation of one of the greatest players, on the step back, and the way that conversation has evolved throughout the course of the year. What's your thought?
Well, I mean, what James did this year is unbelievable. He's the only guy that every year in the last 5 years is 1 or 2 in the MVP race, and that reason is because it's consistency. And the only thing James doesn't have is a ring or even a final since he's been to Houston. And I think James is going to get it done right now, and CP3 and Clint Capella's got to play real good. PJ's doing well, Eric's doing well. But your big 3 have got to step up, and I think they will tonight. They're great players, And believe me, nobody wants it more than Chris Paul and James Harden.
Well, Tillman, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the game. Try to take a deep breath. Casey, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Allie, thank you very much. Obviously, a lot of nerves there for those who are in charge of the Rockets on the brink of elimination, and there have been nerves in the past. We all remember that Game 6. It means a lot of good things for a lot of folks in different sports, not for Harden in the one against San Antonio. And I want to start with James. Fair or unfair, this is the world that we live in. MVP last year, probably finished second at worst this year. I'll start with you, Brendan. Does James Harden have to win this game tonight and play well to not have his legacy of all of that damaged by one night?
Yes, James Harden definitely has to win tonight. When you look at this Golden State team being down Kevin Durant, James Harden having the year that he had last year and this year, he's had great regular seasons, but he's had a lot of moments in the playoffs that have left us kind of mystified. He had some mishaps in OKC in the finals. Then you go back to Houston against the Spurs, where he kind of got missing in that closeout game. And then last year he didn't shoot the ball well in the closeout game also. So James Harden, this game is big for his legacy. He has to come out there, play well, and win the game. That's the biggest thing. He has to be a guy that steps up and plays well and wins the game, or else people are going to notice him as a guy that's just known as playing well in the regular season, and he's too good of a player for that. He doesn't want to be known as just that. This is a big-time moment for James.
Smitty?
Totally agree. He has to come out, play well, win this game, and also play well and win the next game. He's not off the hook just for this game. I think also with Game 7, especially if Kevin Durant, where it looks like he won't be playing anymore in this series, they need to win this game. With no Durant, he's by far the best player on the floor. I would say right now, the way he's playing the last 2 years, he must will this team to this win, and that's what he has to do for his legacy. That's what the big players do. They do it, and they win it in playoff time.
And going back to Mr. Fertitta, the question after the game, if they don't win, will be where in the world do they go from here? We know where we go. That's back into the way back, but not that far back to where B. Wood was with the Cavaliers trying to work defensively on a team that didn't have a guy like Kevin Durant, but still were pretty darn good. What kind of things were you doing to put the Splash Brothers in spots that were best for you defensively as a team?
Well, in 2015, Tyronn Lue way back then was an assistant coach, and he was in charge of the defense. And he realized that the Splash Brothers were too good as far as coming off of screens, pin downs, and ball screens. We could not let them get good, clean looks. So our whole focus was to trap Steph and Klay no matter where they were on the court. And we would even leave some guys wide open because we didn't care. You see this trap right here? Look at Mozgov. Nice early trap. Throw back to Draymond Green. A little bit raggedy of a play. Mozgov once again backing off Draymond, daring him to shoot. Soon as Steph catches the ball, another screen, immediate trap. No. We're not trapping and getting back. We're trapping and forcing Steph Curry and Klay Thompson to get rid of the ball. Then you see LeBron James out in transition. Once again, you have Steph with the ball. Here's a screen. Doesn't matter. Make him give it up. Force Iguodala, force Draymond Green, force whoever else is on that weak side to beat you with their jump shot. This team is devoid of shooting outside of those two players. Another big-time trap. Then you rotate over. That's Festus Ezeli inside trying to get the score right there. But the fact of the matter is, whenever somebody has the ball, you want to slough off of them and give help. And then whenever Klay or Steph come off of a ball screen, you want to trap it and get the ball out of their hands. Force other guys to beat you. That will be the theme of the night for the Houston Rockets. That should be the defensive strategy. Force other players besides Steph and Klay to beat you. I want all ball screens should be trapped. You should be living and dying with the results of guys like Draymond, Iguodala, Sean Livingston on the weak side, because we know that Steph and Klay are good enough to beat you with their jump shots.
We've got a show that we had done during the offseason, What If? What if Boogie were still here? We forget.
They need him.
Imagine if they still had him. It would have been, who knew it would have been the difference it was. You want to go way back, Machine? It has been way too long since the Friday Night Live group was back together again. Under the rim we go.